Oh, I kind of want to answer this one because I feel like my answer might be a little different than you'd expect or than they would answer it. But I love questions like these. For example, I love when Frio described all the members of By the Beat as a different type of coffee. Someone asks, how would you describe each By the Beat member as a genre of music, as a music genre? Oh my goodness, that is pretty tough. That's pretty tough. But for me, I promise it's not just the bias. I'll start with myself because I think I know myself decently well. It's not just the bias of my favorite genre, because it's no secret that jazz is my favorite. But I also think jazz kind of encapsulates my personality. I think I have a very maybe not rebellious. Rebellious might not be the right word for my personality. More like easygoing, very come what may, happy-go-lucky vibe about me. That's kind of the way I like to live my life. I feel best if I don't worry about all the fine details and I don't worry about structure and stuff. I do work extra hard to introduce structure to my life because I need it, but at my most natural form, there's actually not that much structure. I'm kind of chaotic, kind of messy, actually. And jazz in general is all about freedom of expression, kind of doing a new take on a rule or on a standard of understanding for music. Vocally, instrumentally, it's all about breaking those walls and just just having fun. And I really, really love that. So I think I am jazz. Beyond me, maybe going in debut order, right, with Sable. Here's the thing. Sable really, really loves dark music. He loves really dark and serious stuff. He loves the macabre. He loves grim and serious music. But I think he's actually very I don't know, when I think of Sable, I hear very uplifting and warm stuff. Kind of the stark opposite. Like I see a sunrise almost. You know what I mean? So I think Sable would be like a really heartfelt and romantic ballad. You know what I mean? Especially like a Japanese ballad. Very, very sweet. Maybe a little bittersweet, actually. Maybe a little I talked about this a little bit during my last karaoke set list, but I associate him with songs like Neko by Dish. Just very sweet and optimistic and uplifting, and I don't know, the sound of like warmth, of joy, of love, things like that. I just think he's a very uplifting individual. He's very courteous. He always looks out for others. He's very receptive to small things. And I just see him as that. That's what I think he is. I think he is very sweet ballads, even if that's not the type of music he personally likes to sing or listen to. Yeah, very back number. Back number is a really good example as well. For Frio, it's a little bit more consistent with the type of stuff he likes, but maybe slightly different. He also likes a lot of utaite adjacent darker music. And I can hear him in dark and serious, but I kind of hear him in orchestral music. I hear him in because to me Frio is he's very clean. He's kind of my polar opposite in this way. It actually really intimidated me when I first met him. He's very put together, and that's the kind of person that I'm most nervous around. He's got a clean plan for everything. He sees every possible outcome with that plan and considers counter options for those. When there's a question, he's always the one with an answer. And when there's not a question, there's going to be one because he's the one that's asking the next question. He's got structure in his life. He's very put together. He knows what he's doing. And I think in contrast to jazz, right, that's what classical is all about, orchestral. Everybody has to be absolutely perfect, and if a single instrument stands out, the entire piece is ruined. That's Frio to me. I think he's very clean. He's very he colors within the lines. You know what I mean? So I associate him with especially very almost posh type classical music, like Mozart's classical music. Very clean and articulate. But I don't know that he would see that as much. But that's what I see in him. That's what I would describe him as. I would say he's very clean and articulate classical music, especially the kind of almost showboaty classical is what I mean by Mozart, right? The kind of, or Chopin. I would not associate him with Debussy. Debussy is my favorite classical composer, but see, Debussy's music, despite being classical, is its own standard of very flowing and almost ethereal sounding music. But with Mozart or Chopin, it's much more almost punchy. It's very pointy. It's very, I don't know, it's very sophisticated. It's so hard to put the words that I want out there, but yeah, I see him in that, or like Rachmaninoff as well. Yeah, just very Tchaikovsky. That's another good one. Tchaikovsky is another very clean classical music. That's what I hear. That's what I hear for Frio. Sophisticated, yeah, sophisticated is a good way to describe it. Especially difficult classical music. For Zeal is an interesting one. Oh my goodness. Here's the thing, I think I might be consistent with what he's very interested in listening to, but it's also kind of, it's not very hard to be because he listens to everything and he likes everything. He loves music in general, so it's kind of difficult to encapsulate him in a single genre. But I think in general, God, I associate him with so many, is the problem. I feel like there are times when he's one and then times when he's another. He's very he's a very adaptable presence in life. I think like in times of stress, he can be a listening ear, but he can also be a distraction, but he can also be an active solver, is the thing. Yeah, I guess it really might just be EDM, but I don't know. It's like, it's not enough. You know what I'm saying? He really is like a jukebox. It's like I can hear so many with him. It's tough. It's tough. EDM and jazz, I don't know. I feel like I wouldn't give him jazz, at least. That's one I can say more confidently. Aside from it being his weakness, I think it kind of is in line with his personality. I think similar to Frio in a way. I think he's kind of structured in the way he does things. He's always very quick. He'll be the first to complete a deadline. Very organized as well. But he also has like a rebellious past, you know? He's got that in him. Maybe I'd give him rock, actually. That might be out of left field, right? Because I feel like everybody's going to associate him with EDM. He really loves EDM, to be clear. He loves it. That's what he loves most of all. But I think I'd give him rock. I think I'd give him like punk rock, actually. Punk rock or like rock and roll, traditional rock and roll. Classic rock, like Rolling Stones type rock, maybe. Because with rock, I don't know. It's all about having a very solid foundation. I think if you strip rock of its drums, it's nothing. It's not rock anymore. You need to have that clean foundation, and like the bass is essential to that foundation. Without drums and bass, there's nothing there. And I think that's a lot of what Zeal is. I think he's that clean foundation, that sturdy foundation that you can rely on. He's very reliable. He's very dependable, I think is the best way to describe him. He's always there when you need him, and he'll do whatever you need him to do. And he's also very like knowledgeable. So it being like a more, what is the word I'm looking for? Classic is the best word I can think of. Like it being a more classical form of the genre is very fitted to him. I think he's very wizened. He's been around and he's seen a lot of stuff in his years. So I think I would associate him with that. Yeah, I'd associate him, even if it's not his favorite genre at all, but I'd associate him with classic rock and roll.